every goal you give to your team should be very accurate. If you say, this company is going to last 100 years, so nobody take it seriously because every company say, we want to last 100 years. So the number you give the team should be very accurate. We took the video when I talked to the 18 founders. And today when I watch the video, a lot of people say, well, since we don't have anything to do, when you see 102 years, a big tent size, let's just do it. Very few people believe that we will make it happen because we don't have a high resumes, right? I graduated from Hangzhou Teachers College, and most of my colleagues at 18 founders, they were my students, my friends. None of them are very successful. Among the 18 people, there are only 3 people who know something about computer. The rest of 15 people know nothing about computer, nothing about the internet. We had no money. 18 people gathered $50,000, and we had no relationship. None of us from rich family or powerful family with a government office background. We don't have great talents. But I told the team that, guys, if we can be successful, 80% of the young people in the world can be successful. Because at that time, China had the internet was so backward. Nobody believed e-commerce in China. Nobody believed internet. People say China will not develop internet, and China will not have e-commerce because you don't have a credit card system, you don't have logistics, you don't have this, you don't have that. But I think someday China will have. If we start to do it now, if we prepare for 10, 15 years, the day that e-commerce in China will boom. So that was the thinking at the beginning. And 30 years ago, I was considered, in my early 30 years, I was considered to be a loser. I remember that, I applied university for 3 times, all failed. And after the first year when I finished university of high school, failed in examination for university, I went apply for a job in a police station. 5 classmates, we went there, 4 of them accepted, and I was rejected. And one of the 4 who were rejected, today he's my chief staff. He's been working in the police for 20 years. He's an excellent policeman, but when we talk about this, he always say, well, the day when we apply for being a policeman, you were rejected. They feel very proud, but they say, hey, Jack, you don't have a chance. And the second thing I remember very well, Hangzhou, the first 4-star hotel in my city was built. My cousin and I waited for 2 hours and a half in a very hot summer in order to apply a job being a hotel waiter. After interview, my score was much better than my cousin. After interview, my cousin was accepted and I was rejected. Reason is he was taller and more handsome. 30 years later, today, he is still working in that hotel in a laundry room. And I changed my life. If you complain, nobody will follow you. Nobody loves to follow a leader who complains a lot. And we have to be optimistic. I'm lucky enough to meet so many great business leaders in the world. I found all of them, they are very optimistic. I found all of them never complain, and I found all of them want to making sure that their team are better. 18 years later, now from 18 founders, now we got more than 50,000 people. And from my apartment, we got a lot of campers today. And we have achieved over 550 billion US dollars GMV sales last year. And we also have more than 500 million users using our services in China alone. And every day, more than 200 million people shopping through a mobile phone on our site. And one thing you believe or not, I just don't understand. There are about more than 60 million people browser through mobile phone every night without buying anything. And we also created more than 33 million jobs. This is what we feel for China. This is what we feel most proud of. Our goal is that we have bigger, even crazier. Yesterday I told you, by year 2036, we try to build an economy that be the world's 5th largest economy. For our GME last year, we are ranking number 21 or 22 in the world. In next 20 years, we want to be the 5th. In the 5th largest economy, we want to support 2 billion consumers. We want to create 100 million jobs for the world. We want to support 10 million business be profitable on our platform. So helping young people is helping future. Believing young people is believing your future. What we did in the past 15 years ago when we launched Taobao, nobody wanted to use in Taobao and Tmall. So we tried to convincing those people who are 18 years old. They don't have money. They want to buy, cheaper things and tiny things. Those people who are 40 years old, they don't buy it. They think, no, we don't like it. So we said, for 18 years people, in China, in the older days, when we're convincing older people, we're convincing young people. But now, we're convincing young people, we're convincing older people. So those 18 years old, we wait for them for 10 years. When they are 28, they will be the future. That is why we have a patience. For 15 years ago, we've been waiting for 15 years until today. So that is called a strategy. When trade stops, war starts. So trade is not buy things. Trade is appreciation of the culture of the other side. How can you stop trade? People are moving very fast. There's one thing for sure, a lot of jobs will be taken away because of the artificial intelligence, because of the robots. Don't worry about that. People say, artificial intelligence is going to control, machine is going to control human being. Trust me, human being will never be controlled by machines. We invented the trains and the cars. At that time, we all worry about these cars and trains, electricity. But finally, human being can control that. And I want to tell you that artificial intelligence is going to create a lot of new jobs. But the next 10 years, it's going to be trouble. And I want to say that manufacturing is not going to create a lot of jobs, because most of the manufacturing were produced by artificial intelligent robots. The service industry, tourism is going to create a lot of jobs. Service is going to create a lot of jobs. But when people don't have jobs, what are people going to do? So a lot of people worry, what are they going to do? I tell you, at that time, most people will only work 4 hours a day and 3 days a week. But how can we surviving? I tell you, even if you work 4 hours a day, 3 days a week, you will still be very busy. My grandfather working 16 hours a day in the farm. He said, I'm very busy. We work 8 hours a day, 5 days a week. We think we are very busy. So I tell you, when you only work 4 hours a day, 3 days a week, you will be very busy. You will travel all around. You will always mobile. You will always on the car, because normally we only visit 30 cities in our life. 10, 20 years later, you will visit 300 cities in your life. So you're always on the way. When you're always on the way, you are always mobile. When you're all mobile, how can you stop globalization? Globalization is opportunity for everybody. I think globalization is only a baby. Past 20 years, the globalization, especially the trade, is controlled by 60,000 big companies. The world was 2080. A lot of companies, the 20%, and they just focus on 20% of the big companies and developed countries. We believe the world should be inclusive. Globalization should be inclusive. Young people should have the opportunity. Small business should have opportunity. We hope that every government have free trade zones for small business. There are a lot of free trade zones, but they're all designed for big companies. If we encourage the small business to import, export, they should have the same rights like any big companies within 24 hours custom clearance. This is what we think. We should also have the same all kinds of tax privilege for small business. And this is what we believe. And every country should pay special attention to the next 30 years. Pay special attention to those young people who are below 30 years old. Pay special attention to those companies who have less than 30 employees. By the way, let me tell you, 30 employees in the industrial time is a small business. On the digital time, they're huge big companies.